Good evening, everyone. Welcome to LFC Transfer Room. You're with Dan, Reese, Patricio, and Menti. Thank you very much for joining us this Sunday evening. Liverpool, the only winners of the week. United lost. City lost. Chelsea lost. And we didn't. Arne Slot's Reds, 100% undefeated, 100% winners. That's how we like it to be from the beginning. Thank you for joining us. Hit us a like, hit us a subscribe, get yourself in the comments, get involved. Tell us your thoughts. Tell us what you think, what we're discussing, and I'll try and get it involved if it's relevant to the conversation. So we'll get straight into it. Always sunny in Philadelphia. Liverpool, for those who know, many of us will. They're now in Philadelphia, and they are going to be playing Arsenal midweek, who last night were rampant victorious team against Manchester United, and then somehow lost on penalties because that's how we do friendlies in America. Just want to have a discussion really about the game coming up. How we feel, what we saw from midweek against Real Betis. Midweek at the weekend. I don't know what day it is anymore. I don't like playing when it's not on at normal times, not in the English times. So just let's get back to those times. So yeah, straight into it. Reese, the game against Betis, I was dead impressed. I actually thought it was very different, but I quite enjoyed not feeling like at every single moment we were going to concede. What were your thoughts?
No, I was quite impressed with the performance. It looked more possession based in terms of throughout the whole team, and then they were doing triangles, and then a few of the young players as well. I was especially impressed with Neon when he came on after Curtis Jones. He just looked very lively. Like everything he done kind of worked. I think he was the one who split open the pass to give to start the attack between Salah and Szoboszlai before we scored. But I like the style of play, and I like that the high line wasn't crazy high. I've been wanting that to change. Obviously, it's still early, but I was impressed with the performance and looking forward to the Arsenal game during the week and the United game on the weekend.
100%, and I'm looking forward to 38 1-0s and taking us to the title because that's all I need. Patricio, same question to yourself. What were you impressed by? Obviously, Trainioni was the second coming of Pogba, and we all know that's happening. What a player, what a performance. But he wasn't the only one, was he? Who else caught your eye?
To be honest, I think Szoboszlai played really well when he was on the pitch. I think his link up with Salah, having him as a 10, played quite well on that right-hand side. Played a good few balls there and made some good runs. I also thought that Vandenberg played pretty well at the back. He showed what he's been doing in training and showed that he can actually progress the ball forward a bit. And a lot of the young lads I found played really well. Doak being quite technical when he was running through the middle a little bit. At one point I saw him at, and I do think that he does get mussed off a little bit, but too easy. But he is quite technical with the ball, good feet on the ball. So a lot of players impressed me in that game. We played heavy on the right hand side, so I didn't really get to see much from the left. I think Cade Gordon did quite well when he came on as well. I just feel like the person who wasn't really there for me was Harvey Elliott. I expected a bit more from him. He seemed to kind of go back and not take his shots. He was a bit reluctant to shoot, so I think I would have liked to see a bit more from him. But no, all round, great team, great game. So yeah, that's it. Muted.
As you can see, trying to be polite, not muting myself. Right. I completely agree with you. I actually think Harvey Elliott did what Harvey Elliott did last season, which was when he starts a game, he seems to not be very good. But when he comes off the bench, he seems to be like a world beater. So it just didn't seem to... don't get me wrong. It wasn't bad. There was just large portions of it where you just kind of... I felt like I wanted a bit more. He was, as daft as it sounds, one of the most senior players on the pitch. And I just wanted a bit more. I thought Curtis Jones was doing that up until the point he obviously felt a little bit of an injury and he was, really making himself involved in his new position. Carvalho, I felt, was doing everything that I think he was trying to do. He did cut a frustrated figure, to be honest, at times, because on the right-hand side, there was some great link-ups with Conor Bradley and Mo Salah and Dominic Szoboszlai, while on the left-hand side, Tsimikas, I believe it was Carvalho, and going into, would you have said it would have been at the time, Jones. I don't know whether those three were just quite making the passes on that side, and we were spending a lot of time on that right hand side. But again, I didn't think he did anything truly wrong. Menti, your thoughts on what you saw? What were you most impressed by? Did you notice anything different by the style of play? What we were doing? Did you notice anything different?
Yeah. So for me, like just watching a new style of play has been great, just because I was tired of Pep Linders. I definitely didn't like him as a coach. Awful coach. We've been like stagnant for 2 years.
The other day.
They don't like to admit it, but like I like that they're trying to start off from the back, so it's pretty nice. And it's like these aren't senior players, so you shouldn't expect them to like click instantly. But the ideas are there. The triangles, like Reese said, the link up is there. I was impressed with like how he played with the left and right back, because they stay a little bit more wider, so it's easier for them to swing it out. Like when it's double pivot, one will come swing it here, and then they would just throw it out there. But like me seeing Bradley go up, I'm just thinking like, how is he going to use Trent? I know a lot of people say midfield. I don't know. Like the way he plays, I think the system is going to be good for a lot of players. Like so goes by. But the only reason Elliott just looked bad is because he was playing with 2 10s. So it's just like, if there was a striker, it would be a little bit different. If he was like in Sobozai's spot and then there was like a 9, it'd be a completely different player. But yeah, new style of play, very early stages. I just want to see just a little bit more modern and more tactical managers. All that. But this was not him.
Yeah, definitely. It was really nice. What I noticed, I don't know about what you guys saw. Did you notice how many times the keepers, both Yados and Quivin Kelleher, took touches? Like they were very happy just to keep tapping the ball and waiting for the attacker to instigate that press, rather than maybe making that pass. They were happy to hold on to it for 2 or 3 seconds with their feet, sometimes even longer, and then play the pass through the lines. And that was a little bit different, and I quite liked it. And a couple of occasions, some of the players, because it's a new system and it is a different way of playing, Endo unfortunately didn't cover himself in glory. However, he's had to learn one whole new system last season. He's had to learn a whole new system again this one. So we're asking a lot of him, and I still think that he's gonna come good. But yeah, it was a nice sort of being able to watch a team where it wasn't just constant transition, where we were controlling the ball much better, making an awful lot of power passes, in excess of 600 passes in that game. A lot of the young lads took the opportunity to shine. This is an unusual preseason for, as we all know, there are Copa America and the Euros being in at the same time, meaning that a number of our senior players aren't available for the right reasons, because they need a break. And it means that these younger lads have had the opportunity to say to the new boss, have a look at me, and this is what I can do for you. And I felt like a lot of them really took that by the scruff of the neck. And I really liked it, to be honest. As much as the result was great, it was always nice to get a win. The clean sheet was even better. But it was the way that they got it. I felt there was only the one occasion, like the boss said, there is only one occasion where we kind of went, oh, that was a big chance given. Otherwise, I felt that we really did smother them, and the press was really, really good. I'm just going to go and have a little look here in the comments. Let's have a look. So before we get on to my favourite conversation from Paul, hell yeah, evening. Curtis Jones wasn't in training today, and both training unit and Ben Doak was absent as well from training. Oh, right, I didn't know about Trey and Ben Doak. Curtis Jones, I would imagine, because of the injury scare. That probably makes sense. He's had enough injuries, and it's really not worth risking it. Trainioni, I don't know. I mean, I hope it's not an injury. I'm sure perhaps it might just be about just ensuring that we're not overplaying these young lads. And Ben Doak was also returning from a serious injury too. However, later in the conversation today, we'll be talking about Ben Doak's potential future and his loan. So stick around for that one. Diddler Chris Card, Doak loan, I imagine. Yes, I would agree with you. Haven't read about injuries on Leone or Doak, so I don't know how much more about that. I don't think Leone's going anywhere on a loan. I just don't. I think it's too soon. I think they'll want him around the club and want him to have another season with us and maybe go on a loan. But then if he carries on playing like he does, he's going to be on that bench if not started. Right, let's have a look. Final, my personal thing. Dan, what's more likely? Trent move to Madrid or Gordon to Liverpool? Gordon is coming to Liverpool. Stick your house on it because that man will be here this season or next. It's happening. You heard it here first. Right then. So, have anyone else got their comments about the chat there? Nope, nothing. Okie dokie. Right, so game midweek, we're playing Arsenal. Arsenal won and lost in the same match against Manchester United. What are your thoughts on this match? How are you? Do you feel that this is not the first real test, or do you think this is a bit of a barometer? I'll go to Patricio. Do you feel that this game coming up is an opportunity for us to sort of gauge as to where we are, or do you feel that this is basically just an over-exaggerated exhibition match?
I feel like it gives us the opportunity to let the young lads play again. Gives them a chance to shine and press in front of the boss. We can also see Slot's system again and see what the players are doing. Obviously, it's not what Slot wants to play traditionally. Obviously, he'd have like Darwin Núñez in there or centre forward. So he is having to play 2 10s at the moment. So it is something different, but it is good. It's a kind of a relief to see the ball going across the floor, passing it sort of tiki-taka around. And I kind of like that. I like that the passing seems to be better. We seem to be, I think it was the fullbacks that came a bit more narrow in the defence to stop. So we forced them out wide, and that was quite good. So yeah, I think we'll definitely give Arsenal a good game, and it'll just be a proper test. I'm excited to see who does what and how well they play. I think Yaros, when he came on last game, I think he played really well when he talked with Kelleher. So, yeah, I felt confident with him back in net. So there's the chance that went wide as well. So, yeah, excited to see what we do against Liverpool, against Arsenal and United. I think it'll be 2 good matches. But yeah, good.
Yeah, it'd be an interesting week, definitely, and I'm looking forward to it as well. I mean, Arsenal suffer from the same situation as we do. I've got a number of their first team players who are out on the bench, out on holidays, and then some of the ones that are there, obviously, we're on show midweek. For me, it's just another opportunity for our young lads to go out there and show what they're made of. Let some more of our senior players get out there on the pitch for the first time under the new system. We know that Gravenberg is potentially on his way out, but will potentially be involved at some point in the American tour. But obviously, we don't know that. But we do know that our man Cody Gakpo could well be available very soon for potentially one of those matches before the Sevilla game. So, Reese, your thoughts midweek against Arsenal? Do we have to win this one just for the bragging rights so we never hear the end of it?
We don't have to win it. Obviously, I would like to win it because anytime you play any of your rivals, whether it's a friendly or competitive or like a important game, you want to win. But ideally, I want the young players to get like a good run, like minutes and stuff, match fitness, up to scratch and whatnot, and also get what some of our other senior players there, just try and get them to get more familiar with each other, more familiar with the style that Slot wants to play and whatnot. So if we can win and the young players shine, then that's great. But if we don't win and we play well, that's also still good. Similar to what happened with the Preston game behind closed door. It's mainly just about match fitness and just getting a bit more fit, getting a bit more sharp and ready for the new season.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that. Definitely. Menti, your thoughts midweek playing against Arsenal and Manchester United? I'd like to win both of them, but I think Reece has hit the nail on the head. I just want to see us do well. I want to see what the new style of play is implemented and that working. And of course, he's not playing with the full toolbox. He's not got all the chess pieces on the table at the moment. So the fact that they are doing as well as they were, which I was really impressed with. So once we start adding in those ingredients that add a little bit more spice to the team, I'm expecting to see vast improvements, perhaps even on what we've already done. What are your thoughts this midweek? Are you looking forward to those games?
Yeah, similar to what you guys said. I'm just excited. Maybe throw Jota in there instead of like Elliott. See how that works for the wingers. Maybe we'll see like Carvalho get the ball more. Because if you're like watching him on his side, he was literally talking to the coach. He was like making the runs when they had it. So it looks like they're trying to play over the top a little bit more. So I think with Jota, the link up will be a little bit better on that side as well. But yeah, Arsenal game, I don't care too much. But United, we gotta win. I don't care if it's preseason. I don't want to lose
Yeah,
Ten Hag. I don't want the banter to start in preseason because United fans, you know how they are.
eras have to come to an end, and I never want his era to come to an end. Let's put it that way. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, there's actually a good question here from Paul. We have Man United week 3, so why are we playing them in pre-season? Money, lots of it. I think will be the reason as to why we're playing Manchester United and Arsenal, because when you play Real Betis, you only get 44,000 in the ground. But I assume we'll get a lot more when we play Arsenal and Man United. Yeah.
And all 3 teams got a strong following in America, so as well.
Yeah, it's all about the cash. It's all about the PR. It's all about signing shirts and doing all that good stuff and keeping the sponsors happy. So yeah, I'd assume there's a little bit of that going on in there as well. So yeah, it's not too bad. Half midnight or whenever they fancy kicking off. Is that game kicked off 20 minutes later than it was meant to? So yeah, I suppose that's just how they fly. Let's have a route. Anyone else in there? 10 more goals scored or 10 less goals conceded, which is preferable. 10 less conceded, absolutely. Yeah, we scored more than enough goals last season. We actually scored more than we did when we won the league. But the problem is we conceded far too many goals. Too many goals that made draws and too many goals that meant losses. So yeah, I'd take 10 less any time of the week. So let's have a route. Anyway, Joao Gomes conversation. Let's have a conversation about him. Reports coming out that Joao Gomes is on Liverpool's radar, player we should be interested in. I want your thoughts in the comments about Joao Gomes. Liverpool are, I assume, in the market for a number 6. We never replaced Fabinho, and not quite the replacement that we all kind of thought, wanted, or expected. Straight on to Patricio. Your thoughts on Joao Gomes? He plays for Wolves. We've signed players from Wolves. We've had previous business with Wolves. What do you make of him? What do you make? Well, even not so much. What do you actually make of the idea of selling a player like Joao Gomes?
Well, he seems like he wants to join us. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't seen a lot from Joao Gomes. I don't watch a lot of Wolves, but he seems interested in joining us. And he actually, I want someone who wants to come to Liverpool. Like, it's all well and good that we want to sign big names, but we also want someone that wants to fight for the club. If the club really believe that he's the number 6 that we need, that Fabinho replacement, then yeah, go for it. But we shouldn't just splash the cash on someone that may choose to look elsewhere in the next few years, the next couple of years. So if he's genuinely the proper number 6 for us, then yeah, I'm all for it. It gives time for Endo to rest a bit, and then when in games that Joao Gomes can't play, if he was to sign, then Endo can go in or buy Cecic or whoever. So yeah, it could be a good signing. He's only come up recently though, hasn't it? It's only been the comments more recent. I've seen other names and stuff. Sorry.
It's funny actually. It's actually resurfaced. I'm just going to go to a quote here. This is from Fabrizio Romano via ESPN on the 19th of September 2022. Flamengo midfielder Joao Gomes is told that Liverpool was scouting him. So we've been scouting him for a couple of years. So this isn't kind of new news or just kind of plucked out of thin air. This is a player that Liverpool have had an interest for a little while. Liverpool are a team I'd play for. I had the greatest desire to play. So I do like those comments. He's clearly has his eye on us from the start, and we've had his eye on us. So Liverpool are a team, Menti, who are well known for being a little more risk averse when it comes to signing players from South America and allowing somebody else to take that risk to find out if they're actually any good. Do you think there's a little potential of a little bit of that going on here that Liverpool have not allowed, but have gone, another team is signing him, that's okay. We'll allow them to kind of do the due diligence for us to find out if he's a player who's going to be able to make the step up to our club. What do you think of this situation? Do you think this could come to fruition? Do you think it could be a player that we could sign?
Honestly, I don't know, because I do remember like 2 years ago when we were tied with him, and I was like, oh, not knowing FSG, I knew they weren't going to get a player straight out of Brazil. But I think they tend to have these players play around like 100 something games, maybe in the Prem. He's at like what 49. So I don't know if they wanted him. I think they would already got him 2 years ago, but I just don't see it. I feel like they'll get someone else for the price they're going to ask him. It's going to be a lot. I don't think they're going to give him for cheap.
That's fair. I mean, the interesting thing about Joao Gomes is he's been described by some as a pit bull of a player. And again, I won't pretend to be somebody who is a massive expert on Joao Gomes, but what I do have is access to a laptop and the internet. So what that hasn't told me is that Joao Gomes made the most tackles last season of any midfielder within 12 months, 71 above Joao Paulinho. So he's a player who knows how to put himself about, and he's capable of putting a tackle in. That's something we want. He's got a range of passing. He has a little bit of flair about him. He clearly has the ability to play under pressure. He has a desire to play for us. For me, I think it makes a lot of sense. Had we signed him directly from Brazil, I think a lot of fans would be absolutely going, "Oh my God, finally, we're doing it. And in a way, we're just doing this via a third party in a way. Wolves, again, with the situation that they're in, I know they've had a little bit of financial difficulties over the recent history and I've had to make a few sales. The price, I think, wouldn't be overly expensive, but you're right. I think it would be up there. Patricio, Reese, apologies. Reese, Joao Gomes, is he a player who's been on your radar? Have you had a chance to have a look at him? And if so, would you see him being able to fit into our team with the players we currently already have?
I think he's a good player. I remember we were linked with him a few seasons ago. I don't know if that was when Wolves had him or before Wolves got him, but obviously Liverpool didn't take that chance to go and get him. They waited. I think he's a good player. How old is he? How old is he again, Dan?
Oh, apologies. So just give me a moment. I've just gone off the page.
Okay.
Yeah, 24. Yeah.
Okay. No,
Yeah,
I
so
think
he just turned 24. Yeah, just turned 24.
I think he's a good player. How much would it be? We would have to probably end up paying if we was to get him.
You see that's where it's difficult, isn't it? Because I would probably guess as the top of my head between what 35 and 55, somewhere in that ballpark of a figure. It may potentially come with add-ons and bits and pieces that the club are able to add on to that they're achievable, so that we don't have to pay that money directly up front and would be linked to his performance and the team's performance. The comments from Arne Slot was interesting, which was talking about having a number 6, and he said a number 6 about having someone who was, who had a range of passing, was capable of passing under pressure. Yeah. So this does make sense to me. This is somebody who's capable of doing those things. He's Premier League proven. The age is just right. He's only just turned 24. Experienced, a player who we've had an interest in and a long look at before. Liverpool. There is a reason that Liverpool generally don't sign players directly from the Brazilian leagues and places like that, is that they've been bitten before. They've had difficulty in signing players and keeping them and getting their work permits. You'll all remember Alan de Sousa, who stayed with us for 6 years and never kicked a ball for Liverpool because he could just never get the work permit. And sometimes that's just how it goes. I'm interested. I like the idea of signing him. I'm going to have a little look in the comments and see what people are thinking about him. And if you've not already, just let me know what you think about it. Is Gravenberg's leaving on loan? Not no. Joao Gomes too small? I wouldn't say so. He's not tiny. He's a well built enough lad. He seems mobile enough. He seems to be able to get around. Robin Maguire, it's great to see the young lads showing there and are ready to step in for the levels to drop. I'm really looking forward to the season. Yeah, me too, Robert. It's a really good comment. I appreciate that. Joao Gomes replaced Andre in the Brazil team and start every game the Copa America. Well, that says something, doesn't it? I know Brazil are going through a little bit of a difficulty at the moment, a bit of an identity crisis, to be honest. They're not quite the Brazil of the past. However, Andre Trinidad was somebody who we were all pining for in January of this year. And then when that move didn't materialise, we all soon forgot about him. And so did everybody else. So who knows? Maybe we've just moved on to a player who potentially has a higher ceiling and has been able to be able to make that move for us. Gary Richards, the midfield and the wingers will have a lot of work harder under the system Slot will be using. I agree. I don't know if you boys noticed, but how wide he liked to have his wingers. Like at one point, thought Carvalho was going to be in row 4 or 5 of the stands when he was telling him to get left all this time. But that's good. We want to make that pitch nice and wide and put the pressure on, which I would say suits. I don't know. That's a conversation. Who do you think that suits more? And I'll throw it out to Menti. Do you think being wide, who's this going to suit more for our wingers? Is it going to suit Gakpo? Is it going to suit Diaz? Is it going to suit Salamo?
I think it's gonna suit like any of the left wingers, but like the main player it's gonna suit well is like I think Nunes, just because they just chip it over the top and it's just open space. So he likes drifting left and right like he did at Benfica.
Yeah.
But it'll work for Gakpo. Gakpo was pretty good at left wing. I'm just happy we don't have to see him at false nine. We all know that's all Pep Linder's fault. But he is a left winger. So I'm excited to see him on the left. So I think his goals and assists will go up by a lot. But I think the system will help like Diaz a lot. Nunes, Salah. Like I think we're gonna see just something like refreshing for us fans, just because we're used to that 4-3-3. So we'll see how he installs his philosophy, and once the technical players come, it should be more pleasing.
Yeah, it will be, absolutely, and he definitely played with two in front. It was a 4-2-4, most certainly, with absolutely no number nines because we didn't have any. But however, we do have one for this week in Diogo Jota. As said already in the comments, he looks good. He looks like he's ready. He looks like he's quite well rested, and fingers crossed, touching wood, that he stays fit for this season. I'm most interested to see on Wednesday night to see as to how we line up with having an actual number 9 in the team. Having Diogo Jota being able to play up front, how does that will that give us more of an idea of what we're going to see maybe going forward when we get all the members of the band back, as opposed to only having one or two of them and having to make do with the players that we already have in the team. Question for you, Menti: would you start Gakpo over Diaz?
For me, whoever the coach decides, at the end of the day, I like the way he's training the players. So whoever sees is fit, I think it'll be best for us. But honestly, Gakpo at left wing, amazing player. Gakpo in the middle, I don't know about all that, but honestly, either one. But Gakpo looked like in the Euros a completely different player coming off the left. So I like to see him get a crack at a couple games. But hey, whoever's the better man, competition's competition, should start.
And that man is Anthony Gordon. So when Anthony Gordon does sign, he will be the man who will keep both of those people on the bench and perhaps go into different clubs. So that's you heard it here first. I appreciate Paul for reminding everybody that Anthony Gordon is a player that we need on the left wing. Maybe Diaz can reinvent himself and play somewhere else on Cody Gakpo. Well, there we are. Boys, I will go through there. We'll help with Nunes in the 9 position. I think we just need Darwin Nunes to do one thing, and that's to be on the end of the chances. That's all we really need him to do. I don't want him to do anything else. Just to stay on side as well. That would be really, really important. If we can just do that, I'll be pleased with that one. LK, been saying it all summer. We don't need a destroyer midfielder. We need deep playmakers. Yeah, I'd agree with you. I think that what we saw this week, and I think you boys will agree, Patricio, I would say that this was a much more technical Liverpool, a Liverpool that I haven't seen for a long, long time. Very intricate passes, one-touch passes all the time, looking to kind of make these triangles. And it was nice to watch because it was a bit like watching, that's Liverpool and those are the players I recognise. But I'm not quite sure on your game.
Yeah, I much prefer it the way it is now. Like, I know it's only seen one game, but I can kind of agree with Menti where I didn't really like the Pep Linders Klopp sort of hoof up the pitch to one of the wingers and bring it in kind of thing. Like, I agree with Menti. I liked the fact that Trey seemed very composed on the ball in the middle and was willing to make that split ball pass to Szoboszlai for him to then pass to Salah and back in. I really enjoyed that. I felt we were more comfortable around the back when we had our players dropping deep, like Curtis before he got injured, picked up that knock. So I like the fact that we're doing that. I think Curtis said it in like an interview. He said that he likes the fact that he's enjoying his football a bit more. He'll be used on the ball a bit more, which I kind of like that. It's odd to see where Cavalier will play though, because I believe he's had a conversation with Slot, and he thinks he's more of a number 10, but Slot thinks he's more of a left wing. So it will be weird to see where he plays if he does stay with us and stuff, because do we utilize him out wide or does he play that 10? So I think against Arsenal, I reckon you see more of a 4-3-3 with Jota in the middle and maybe Cavalli on the left wing. But then does he use Elliot or not? So yeah, we'll have to find out. We'll see what he wants to play. No, it's good.
We certainly will, and we've still got the option of playing a 4-2-3-1 as well, haven't we? There's the possibility of being able to play in that formation where we could play a true 10. I can understand where Carvalho would be coming from, that his best football comes from playing in a 10, and I was a little bit disappointed about him kind of openly saying about, the boss put me out on the wing and I feel my best football comes from number 10. Just keep it to yourself. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you want me to be totally honest with you and just give advice, sometimes just don't say anything. Just be polite and just go, yeah, I enjoyed it. I got my minutes. I'm back out playing in the first team as it stands right now, in the starting team for Liverpool under Arne Slot. And I would say that's an improvement on where he was last season, because obviously he was on a loan. One failed and one eventually kind of came good when he played at Hull. So for me, I was just a bit disappointed. And there has been some mention here as we're talking about, actually, Paul put in before. I can't find your comment, Paul, but Paul mentioned, are we setting him up to fail? I don't think we're setting him up to fail at all. I think that he's being challenged to be able to do something different, and he should relish that. I think his opportunities will come. Cody Gakpo last season didn't get a lot of chances to play on the left wing, and it will come. I think the time will come. I think he'll be played there. But sometimes you just have to buckle down and do what the manager wants and what the team needs. And on this occasion, they needed him to play out there. So, yeah, I'm pleased enough. And I think this week, this Wednesday game will be really interesting, because will we see, as you said there, a 4-3-3? Will we even see a 4-4-2? Will we see a 4-2-3-1? There's lots of opportunities, because we've just added a couple of new ingredients to the team who give us some more options, where this week we had no strikers. I mean, Harvey Blair, and obviously that he's got a long way to go before he's going to be deemed as a number 9. Had Jaden Dan's not been on his way potentially on a move, and this is because I do read your comments, but I am on my own. Will Dans be loaned out to Plymouth? Possibly. It's not been announced yet, but he's not involved in the America tour, and that's not because he's injured. So we can only assume that's because there is an arrangement of a loan going on somewhere. So he could well end up at Plymouth, learning under Wayne Rooney for all 2 or 3 months, whatever it is that he'll be in that job for, and then having some other coach. But maybe we can get him back by Christmas. So we'll wait and see. Let's have a route. Jamie's loved the stream title, by the way. Yeah, I make these all up myself. So yeah, if you want to commission me for any artistic work, give us a shout. I'm always available. I do try my best. Paul Golding, slow, quick, and wham bam. Thank you, ma'am. No naughty thoughts, boys. Let's trust in Arne. All right, Paul, like it? Yep, that'll do for me. I'll have all that. Dan said have a slight back issue as well. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, he probably did, but I think it's more along the lines of he's probably going to be on his way to a loan move somewhere. One last question before we this would be a good segue. So we'll have this question out to the boys. Sepp Vandenberg, I thought he did pretty good. I did. I thought he did pretty good. I won't go wildly into like the situation where I thought he was like amazing, or if we bought him for 40 million, I would have been dead impressed. I felt that he was more than serviceable. He won his headers. He played like a player who's not played, for a club of Liverpool stature for a little while. That's okay. That's fine. He didn't do anything to let himself down, and it was a nice opportunity after some of the earlier comments in the transfer window and his interview with the Telegraph in Holland about wanting a move and the club had overpriced him. He still can't get away from this idea of, I think my value is too high, which is wild, because I thought he played like a player was probably worth 20 million euros. Reese, what do you think? Did he play like a player who was worth 20 million euros to you?
He looks like he's grown as a player, because compared to when we had him when he first came, he looked more out of place. He looked like a boy, or he looks like he's filled out a bit more, looks a bit more assured. Looked like I say, done the basics quite well. I think it will depend on him staying, or depend probably on how the preseason goes, and then also where he will be in terms of what position, because he's probably not going to be like first choice, second, third choice. He's probably more looking at fourth, fifth choice. And if he probably wants to play, then it makes more sense for him to move on. But like I said, Slot might have plans for him. He might have a good preseason. Slot might decide, well, I'm gonna start with him. But he looked like he done everything quite well, and he looks like he's grown. It seems as a player, but at the same time, it's a bit too early to say.
Yeah, 100%. And I'd be interested to see, what number of games or minutes that he would be comfortable with playing in a Liverpool team. Would we be able to say, here's your 12, 15 games of minutes that we're going to give you, and this is how we're going to be able to give it this season? Because I'm sure he wants to play, absolutely. However, his age and where he is right now, I think you're absolutely right. He is fourth choice centre back, more in all honesty, potentially fifth if you want to include Joe Gomes involved in that conversation. Joe Gomes, I think, more likely will just want one step position this season. I would assume. I would probably assume that's where he would want to be. But that'll be down to him and what the boss asks of him. Maybe it'll be another season where he kind of flits in and goes into different places. Patricia, what did you make of Vandenberg? What was your opinions on his game? Do you still feel like it's a sell, it's a loan, or do you think that he has a future here at Liverpool?
Depends on his mindset and stuff. So with his comments, I was very much like, oh, if you're gonna be thinking about wanting to get out of the club that badly, if they've been treating you that badly, then maybe you shouldn't play for us. But if you're wanting to prove yourself in pre-season and in training, and he's willing to put the effort in, like you said, he's only been beaten in that new test by Mo, so that shows that he's putting in the effort. He wants to try, and especially if a lot of the members saw that he did well at Mainz, he's doing well in training. So maybe if he's willing to prove himself in pre-season and then he gets a few cup games and stuff, if he does decide to stay, then he could be working his way up. Especially, I assume Virgil might play less games if he decides to stay as well. He extends his contract, so he could have a place there. It could then allow us to use money elsewhere if Vandenberg does stay. I don't see Gomez as a centre back anymore. I see him utilised as a versatility on the right back, left back position. So maybe he can work his way. For me, it's got to be sort of Virgil, Kwanzaa, and then Kanate, because Kanate is very he's injured quite a lot. I have full faith in Kwanzaa. He's a ridiculous player. So I'm just hoping that Vandenberg is willing to put the effort in, and if he's not, then yeah, I guess we'll have to get rid of him for that 20 more euro price tag, but we'll see.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's interesting to not value yourself at 20 million euros as a player who played first team football in the Bundesliga as a centre back and your age. I would say 20 million euros is probably the starting point for most centre backs, to be honest. So, Menti, your opinions? Do you think that there's a way of, it's not convincing him, but convincing him to say you have a place in this project, but it may not be as somebody who's going to play an awful lot of minutes? Do you think that that's something that he's warming to, or do you think maybe there's some realization that the club have said no, it's 20 million euros or you're staying?
I like the confidence that he has in the comments, but better get ready to pack it up because FSG is selling him. If I'm being honest, let's be realistic. They need money. First of all, Van Dijk's starting, right? We all know Van Dijk's starting. Then if Kanate's healthy, maybe he could take Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa's good enough to start. I do not see him competing with those. We need a player that's I don't want someone that has to prove that he can play at Liverpool. I need a proven center back to come in because our back line's a little bit shaky. I don't want to concede goals first anymore. Watching preseason and us not conceding goal first, I was fantastic. I'd love to see it, but nah, he's definitely getting sold.
Yeah, I was in the same boat, to be honest with you. I kind of felt that maybe his race had ran, to be honest, that the club have kind of given these opportunities, and he doesn't strike me. And someone just put it out, okay, said not impressed by his passing against Betis, and I wasn't either, to be honest. And I'm not being hypercritical. He obviously made some good passes. He obviously was good under pressure at times, but I just felt at times it just felt a little bit leggy, and it did concern me a little bit that when the pressure rises and the quality rises and the players that we have to come up against, it's a big jump. It's a big way to go from playing against, Nabil Fekir and, whoever else was in that team. Fornals, ex-West Ham player. it was a bit of a case of, maybe there's a little long way to go here, and perhaps this was just a little bit of a money ball situation where the club bought him very cheap, hope to develop him and then bring him into, like a saleable position, because that's what we do. Paul, to be fair, Sepp Vandenberg did not get the opportunity that Kwanzaa got. Just go back and watch him against Preston when he was there. He's a long way away from whatever Kwanzaa is right now, and what Kwanzaa has the ability to go on to be. He had the opportunity. He just wasn't ready. He just looked like a very, very skinny young man. And, he's had to go away and put some weight on and put some muscle on and get himself in the gym. And he's come back an improved player. He's come back a player who's more than capable. But the club, he said he wants to go. That's absolutely fine. Perhaps he likes, obviously, living on the continent. Perhaps he enjoys living in Germany where he is now. And that's absolutely fine. He's been away from the club longer than he's obviously been here. So he has no real affection towards us. And that's okay. So maybe for him, he feels his time is to go. And a good comment from Jay Muse is Dutch clubs are cheap. I mean, to be fair, they're not exactly flush with cash. It's not a league which has loads and loads of money, is it, to be honest? So I'll forgive them that one. Well, before we go on to the final one, is Gomes a utility player then? If he's not nailed on any positional player, does it mean he's not going to be the first choice ever? No, I don't think he's a first choice across. If all four players are fit, I would say Trent, as it stands, because I don't know if he's playing anywhere else, but we'll call him a right back until we know differently. Right back, then it would be Konate, officially, because he is the senior of the two players. Konate probably is the first choice. Right centre back, Joao Gomes is not far off, to be totally honest. Virgil van Dijk speaks for himself, and as it would stand right now, Andy Robertson fully fit is our left back.
I hope it's not Robinson. I hope it's not.
No,
I feel based on how Gomez played last season, I think he should be the one. He's earned that right for me because he played well throughout the whole season. Personally, I think Robinson's declining. That's he's been on decline for a little while. Personally.
Yeah, absolutely, and I brought this up, and I know it comes across sometimes as a bit like I actually said. I feel like Andy Robertson is on the decline, and people are saying his time is up, and people came at me as where I come from that opinion. It's just reality. He's had a lot of football at a very, very high level, and an awful lot of minutes have gone under him, and I have a feeling. I just have this feeling, and you just look at him. The injuries are creeping in. The age is creeping in. The time and the minutes in his legs are creeping in. Remember, he doesn't just play for us first team. He's also the captain of Scotland, so he never gets a break. This guy is constantly playing football, and it will catch up with him at some point. I actually like the idea of that, and it was funny that you say that we're on the same wavelength, Reese, that I felt that for me, Joao Gomes is the ideal left back. He is actually the ideal. If we weren't to sign a player and we could allow Kostas Tsimikas to move on, because I don't really feel like he's got a long-term future at the club, to be honest. However, he's been here for I don't know how long. But Joao Gomes, for me, I felt he was more than comfortable playing at left back. I thought he was brilliant when he played against City. I thought he was really good when he played against Saka, against Arsenal. I thought he was more than capable of playing in that position. Perhaps he doesn't offer this marauding forward threat that we're all used to, but maybe we don't need that. Maybe that's not exactly what we need, and maybe we, with the change in the system and the way that we're going to be moving forward under Arne Slot, perhaps we just need someone who's more solid. And Joao Gomes has shown a player that he's more than capable of doing that. So, yeah, I like the idea of that. That's where I am with that, to be honest. Let's have a look. Let's be honest, Konate isn't fit anywhere near enough. No, he's not. Sepp Vandenberg would really be the third choice. Yeah, I mean, I can see what you mean, but that's only when Konate is not injured, so he's definitely fourth choice. But yeah, I can see where you're going. For all we know, he could easily be a top-class centre-back. So yeah, he could. He absolutely could. But do you honestly think that he's close to where Kwanzaa, Konate, and obviously Van Dijk are right now? I don't feel like he's even close to that situation, that the drop-off would be quite large as it stands right now. And that's not a slight on him. It's just that we do have some very good centre-backs as it stands right now. And maybe he just hasn't met where we want him to be. So we'll move on to the final piece of our conversation, which is Ben Doak is heavily linked with a move on a season-long loan to Leicester. We've had discussions on my show before talking about loans and players who we feel that would be beneficial, and Ben Doak was somebody I was all for having a season-long loan at a good club who plays good progressive football. And that would be perfect for him, for Ben Doak. He had the horrible injury last season. He's come back. He looks good. He does look like a player who's moving forward. But what's important is he needs minutes. He has to play. He needs time and experience. We saw it with Harvey Elliott. Harvey Elliott came back as a much improved player when he went to the Championship and played obviously at Blackburn. I'll go straight to Menti with this one. Ben Doak on a loan. I mean, it has to make sense, doesn't it? Is there any argument for him to stay?
I just think he'll definitely go on loan just because of his age. And plus the fact that Liverpool are in for a new attacker. I just don't see how he's going to get in on that team. Maybe he has one season. I hope he balls out. I think he's very good. He's going to somehow end up playing for this team eventually when he's a little bit older. But alone wouldn't hurt because he did get injured a little bit last season. But he looks pretty decent though. He's like he's very shifty. Reminds me of like a basketball move, like a hezzy. Like it's pretty good for a Scottish player.
Pretty good for a Scottish player. We've had some good Scottish players in the past, Menti.
He's good though. He's
some good Scottish players in the past, Menti.
Easy there, Monty. I'm Scottish there. Easy there. Easy.
This is it. Whoa.
Not in a disrespectful way, but like.
And that's the end of Menti on the show. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate you coming.
Like Andy Robertson, I love, right? But like, he's an attacker. I mean, I don't remember the last time you had like a young, Scottish guy with so much potential. Like, I like him. I think he's gonna be fantastic. But I didn't mean that with disrespect at all.
Don't mean Charlie Adam wasn't the answer. That's what I want to know. You don't think Charlie Adam was the answer? Yes, no, I understand what you mean, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I liked him. I thought he was good when he came on. Very direct, fast. Obviously, he's got that low center of gravity. It's all the good stuff, and I just think that what's important is the same with Jayden Danns. I want Jayden Danns. I want to see Jayden Danns playing at Liverpool. I want to see him in the League Cup. I want him. I want those things selfishly, but unselfishly and for the greater good of the club, he needs to go away and play and got to experience it and understand, the importance of like when you're a bit part player, you're not that important. You're not a big cog in the machine. However, you go on a loan move where this club has gone, you can do something for us. And that isn't just to earn the club a couple more £1 million. You could be the difference between them going from mid-table to the playoffs into talking about being promoted. Those are big moments, and that's where it's important. And obviously we saw that with Harvey Elliott when he went to Blackburn, and it's a different world to go into. So for me, Ben Doak moving to somewhere like Leicester or Southampton, has been mentioned, is a great place to go. Patricio, your thoughts on Ben Doak? Do you feel like, for me, I know he's had the injury. Are you having any arguments where you feel that you should stay? Do you think he should stay under Salah, knowing that potentially this could be his last year?
To be honest, I agree. I think the loan move is definitely worth it. He needs to go to a newly promoted side, either a Leicester, Southampton, even. I don't even know if he'd fit in Ipswich's side, but someone like the newly promoted team where he'll get the minutes, even a Championship side, so he'll get the minutes, go against tough opponents, and then prove his worth. And you can see the technical abilities there. We saw it from Doak on Sunday. He played really well. No, today's Sunday. Friday, sorry. He played really well. I saw him at one point. He managed to get past this person on the right hand side of the box. I just feel like no one was there for him, and he ended up getting stopped. But you can see it's there. Like, you've seen him in games like before he got injured. I thought he's really quick and go around the outside of players, and he's got that ability. So I think he just needs those minutes, and I can see him going away for at least 1-2 seasons, coming back strong. Yeah, I'll be excited for Ben Doak to come play for us. Same with Danns as well. I think Danns played really well in the cup games, and you can see a clinical finisher there. So he's another person I'm excited for to play for us. So yeah, I think a loan move definitely worth it.
No, definitely. Reese, your fellow countryman, Ben Doak, the future of Scotland. Tell me, what is there anything about a potential loan that concerns you? Is there anything about a loan that concerns you about going there? Because for me, it all makes sense.
I would welcome a loan. Like I rate Doak highly. Obviously, he's come back. It's nice to see him after the injury. He doesn't look like he's lost any of the attributes that were his standout ones, which is the pace and getting past players and whatnot. Obviously, I'm looking forward to seeing him more during pre-season. But I think the next best move is for him to go out on loan so he can get like regular game time. And Leicester, where they're in the, are they in the Prem now? Or is it the Championship?
The Championship.
Promoted to the Prem.
Yeah,
Wait,
sorry, yeah, promoted. Sorry.
They got promoted.
Okay,
yeah, they got
first.
So for me, I think that would be a good loan because he'll be playing in the Prem. Obviously, just have it where he can't play against us. But if you can get some consistent game time throughout the season, that's only going to enhance his career. And then hopefully, like I said, if he does have a good loan, he should be ready to be challenging for a place or something next season.
And that's what you want for your players. And I mean, there's a number of other clubs at Chelsea who, when you go on loan, it's meaningless. It doesn't mean you'll ever end up in the club. It just means you're just out, just in the ether. They had at one point, I think it was 44 players on loan. And the reason the loan system changed was because of them. Nice of Chelsea to keep changing the rules for everybody else. So with us, you go on a loan. It's not a punishment. You go on a loan. And it's not a case of you're not good enough. It's a case of this is your next step in your development, that we've seen you, we've watched you in the club, we've watched what you're aware of. We have some really good connections with some clubs. We love working with Hull. We love working with Bolton. We love working with Wigan. There's another team that we like to work with. We like working with Dundee as well. That is because they play a particular style of football that we feel is marries up with what we want those players to do. And they go there and they play and they get the opportunities, and they're capable of then being on the pitch every week. And doing well in training is brilliant, but doing well on the pitch on the big time when it matters is obviously much more important. So for me, any loan I would welcome, especially for young players like Jayden Danns, like Patricio's mentioned. For me, Jayden Danns looks absolutely electric. I mean, if we can bring in a number 9 through our academy who's capable of finishing in the way that he can do at his age now, give me a couple more years where he's learning and just gets those little bits and pieces working, I'm really excited for that. And again, why would I not be excited about a pacey young winger in Ben Doak, who we can brought in for absolutely nothing? That's what I want to see. Absolutely. So a couple more comments before we knock it on the head for the evening. Let's have a look. God, you've had some chat in here. Just talk between yourselves. Mensy, I need a proof. Oh, Mensy called out in the chat. Mensy, I need a proven centre back. Mate, you won't get any better centre back that hasn't been one of the best in the Bundesliga at 22. He plays against world class players, not an amateur league. The floor is yours, Mensy. The retort, please.
Not gonna lie to you, he just came to the club at the wrong time. He came when we were in the Champions League. I'm not gonna lie, you could come back to this video when he gets sold. I will be here. There's no way he's going to be at the club. Like, I hate to break it to you. You could say he did well in the Bundesliga, but he's been like here since 2019, when almost 2025. I'm sorry, he still has to prove himself. Like, Kwanzaa Lily came up through the ranks in that time. He's 21 now, a year younger, and he's damn near starting. So we're trying to like compete for titles. We don't need to give him more time to like prove himself. Like, he's not going to get game time. We all discuss him being like a fourth choice, but you could come back to this video, or the next time I come on live, I'll be here when he's sold.
I like it. And what I'll ask is as well, do you think there's a little change in the mentality in between the two? Jarell Kwanzaa, Europa League after Joel Matip's ACL injury that he had in the Premier League, he was asked about it. And his first retort was ice cold of, I was coming to take his position anyway. And Seth Vandenberg's current conversation is, I don't think I'm worth 20 million euros. Does that tell you anything, or am I just reading into it a little bit too much?
Shows that someone who's confident and someone who's not.
This is it. I don't know. I mean, it's just the opportunity's there. I mean, I'd be saying I'm worth 20 million euros. Of course I am. I've just had this great season, like you were saying. Now I'm back at Liverpool, and I'm going to prove everyone why. I don't want to hear, oh, I thought my valuation was a bit high. I don't know. It didn't sit right with me too much. So yeah, I look forward to round 2 of Stuart Edward versus Mensah. You'll be here Sundays at 7:30. Let's have a look. Slot will use his wingers 9 times out of 10. They can get minutes in that way, but a right wing, so alone would be the best for him. Agree with that one. Robin Maguire, Kwanzaa and Seth Vandenberg kept another clean sheet against Arsenal. Canate and Virgil better watch out. Yes, the young boys are here. That's it. Go on. You sign any contracts, Van Dijk? Nah, sorry, Saudi's calling. You're off skis. No, I don't think that's happening. Stuart Edward, we signed a 22-year-old Dutch centre-back that was one of the best in the Bundesliga. You'd all be buzzing if it wasn't for him already ours. Give him a chance, lads. I am giving him a chance, but it's fair to have an observation to say that, you know, he's not exactly sold himself to the rest of us, has he? In what he's been speaking about and the conversation he's been having, and having interviews with the Dutch national newspaper, The Telegraph, were basically saying that he feels his valuation's too high. If his heart's not in wanting to stay here, that's cool. But this club's giving him the opportunities, and this manager's giving him the opportunities as well. And you'd have thought maybe, because there's a new coach in charge, and the fact that he's Dutch, it shouldn't really matter, but you know it does. You know, your fellow countrymen being there, it's nice to kind of feel like maybe someone's might be looking out for you. You'd have thought maybe he would have thought, I'll give this a go here. I'm going to see whether or not I can maybe do a Joao Gomes, and maybe I can get in the team. But instead, what he said doesn't really sound like he wants to. He feels like he's more comfortable being in a smaller league. Electric Dream alone for Ben is good right now. Absolutely. Despite Doak, you have to move this summer for Bakayoko or Kobo. Oh, please no. As these opportunities are likely to be there next year. Takafusi Kobo, at the price, no chance. No, sorry. Not a 60 million euros release clause, which, by the way, a release clause has to be paid up front. And if any of you think that we're paying another 60 million pounds up front for one player, having bought Dominic Szoboszlai last year, it ain't happening. We need to do deals where we're paying over monthly. We need Klarna. We need to put this on the credit card because we're not paying.
Is he on high wages as well?
Well,
no, I don't know.
Not particularly, but there's a few complications. There's a 50% sell-on clause that goes to Real Madrid, and I wouldn't give Real Madrid the time of day. Never mind 30 million euros, to be honest, because they'll probably just stick it on the Trent contract just to be like that. But what was interesting was there was a Japanese news outlet who kind of said that we'd made a move for him, which turned out to be nonsense. And why I thought it was nonsense was because it mentioned 60 million euros as a release clause, which is like, okay, the club can do that. The club will do that, and they have done that with players like Dominic Szoboszlai. But then they said he was going to earn £250,000 a week, and that's when I went, nah. There's no chance in a million years that a player who puts the output out that he has at his age is ever getting £250,000 a week. It's just not happening. So, yeah, I'm not convinced. If he was to come in for a high fee, his wages would have to be sub 100,000. I don't think he'd break £100,000, to be totally honest with you. Perhaps maybe 2 years later, then they do go up. Maybe that's what the club would do, but I can't see that happening at the moment. What I will say in retort to the Bakayoko situation, we haven't signed him, but do you not think it's telling that nobody else has? Do you not think maybe why has nobody else gone for him? Why is nobody else wanting to sign him? If it's such a panic for us to buy him, nobody else is panicking buying him. So for me, that tells me enough as it stands right now. Paul Menti, your thoughts on the Jordan Love 55 million people?
American football. He's just he one guy played one season. They gave him he's the highest paid player. It makes no sense.
That's good work if you can get
one good season. It's crazy.
Well, listen, I can have one good season. They can pay me $55 million if they want. Please like, subscribe, share, and visit us on Twitter. Cheers. I do appreciate that. Thank you, Jay. LK Vandenberg is better build up than Canate. Good God. I mean, Canate's not had a chance to play under on a slot yet, so that's a big shout. Big shout. Thoughts on the Curtis Jones singing Slot's praises, a dig on Klopp?
It's not a dig on Klopp, man. Yeah, it's crazy. It's not.
I don't think so. I think he was just being nice, to be honest.
It's a dig on Pigeon Face.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I'll rename this one the Peplinders Hate Show, the Hater-thon. Welcome to 4 hours of Peplinder hate. Here we are. Carvalho was all says best units to 10. Yes, we've had that one. Jay, thank you very much. And my point is, you have to get Salah replacement now. Yeah, that's true. The problem is it the Salah replacement? It's a massive question. There isn't one, is there really? And you need to find a left-footed right winger, but what is a left-footed right winger going to do in the Liverpool team? Are they going to be a goal scorer? Probably not. No one's going to score.
It's going to be your guy. It's going to be your guy, Dan Gordon. Still, it's going to be.
It's going to be Anthony Gordon. You got it. All roads lead back to Anthony Gordon.
He can play left or right, isn't it? So
just behind here, you can't see it, but I've got a big map that I pull down, and there's like string and pins, and everything leads to Anthony Gordon, and that's what it is. And when we do sign him, I'll just unveil a massive Anthony Gordon cutout and say, look, it was all here from the beginning, and you knew it first. Anthony Gordon, right wing at Liverpool, there's your solution. Left wing at Liverpool, there's your solution. He can do it all. Right, I want to thank everyone. It's been a fun show. It's been a laugh. Liverpool still haven't signed any players, which kills me, and it makes me more difficult for me, but we keep going. Reese, Patricio, Menzi, thank you very much. Thank you, everybody in the chat. I really appreciate it. It makes this show much more enjoyable when you get involved. So please do. You're not going to be ridiculed. You're not going to be put out there. So put a comment in, put your opinion in, and I'll try and get involved with it as much as I can for you. So put a like on, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.